because I was wearing my.
We'll call the meeting to order and a moment of silence. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Every time I say the pledge, I think about the time.
Crazy. Loud as can be.
All right. Roll call, Mrs. Frank.
Mayor Kindle.
Present.
Councilwoman Costantino.
Present.
Councilman Jenny.
Here.
Councilwoman LaPratte.
Present.
Councilwoman Sawicki.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Williams.
Present.
Councilman Tucson.
Yes.
Acting City Manager Szymanski.
Here.
City Attorney DeWally.
Here.
All right, then. I need a motion for the approval of the minutes.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
I'll offer the motion to accept, receive, and file the minutes of the regular city council meeting held on May 5th, 2025.
Support.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, now we come to public comment on agenda items. You can come to the microphone, but it's only for stuff that is on the agenda. If you don't have a comment, you can wait now until call the audience. Seeing none, we'll move on. I need a resolution.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
I'll offer the resolution to approve the consent agenda, items 1 through 8.
Support.
Any discussion?
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
I have a question. I want to, check number 132584, written out to Irma Hayes Productions for the amount of $4,648. It says Juneteenth event
Yes.
rental. What are we paying for?
Staging, tents, everything that we had last year.
Can I get a legal opinion from our attorney? And I went over the ethics clauses in our charter. I went back and watched the meeting of when Ms. Hayes was hired. Myself, Mrs. Constantino, Councilman Constantino, Councilman Sawicki, all had doubts about if we were going to continue to pay an employee for jobs related to the city. And the last word was from, before Councilman Constantino voted, was as long as we're not paying her for things like this, she would approve the contract. The contract, I don't know what's in her contract. In our ethics clause, can she, I don't know if we need to pull this check out and move it to the regular agenda for more discussion, and we can vote on it, but instead of having it part of our consent agenda. But I need to know if this violates our ethics code.
Sharon, do you have an opinion?
Well, I'm not going to speak from the hip, not knowing everything that's involved.
Right.
However, council can waive any conflict if they're confident in the payment. If there's a conflict of interest, if there could be one, that could still be waived. If you know everything, there's a payment, we know what it's for, we think it's justified, and we know who this check is going to. You can waive it, but that's for council to decide. But as to whether there really is a conflict, I don't feel comfortable speaking about that off the cuff right here.
Madam Mayor, I took it to mean more the cost of the things that we're going to be using that are not her. Like the cost, those tents are thousands of dollars to rent. The stage, all the sound equipment.
Horses.
To me, to be able to rent all that stuff for this price is a good deal. I've just put on an event recently and it cost me about $14,000. Of course, my tent had sides and everything, but it was a different story. But this to me seems like it's not unreasonable. And
Okay,
then I was,
maybe I'll explain a little bit about this because obviously Mrs. Hayes is not here. A lot of because she's been a part of entertainment world, a lot of people give her discounts that we would not get if the check was from the city of Harper Woods. So she uses her business to say that she's doing this for her business as opposed to from the city of Harper Woods. The very tent that she will be getting for us costs about $6,500. Along with the things that she's able to get, they give her a discount because she's been in the business for 30 years and she has relationships with different people. It is not anything that money's going to Irma Hayes. It's going to pay for, and you will see the invoices from when she pays for these things, but they think they're doing it for her as opposed to doing it for the city of Harper Woods, because if they do it for a city, it's much more money. And she's doing it as a discount by using her name and using her business. So if you guys have a problem with it, do what you feel is best.
I have a question. So she's using her, so she's lying to the people.
No, she's not lying to the people because they're doing it. She's the one who's helped putting on the event.
But
So-
they think that she's doing it,
Right.
not Harper Woods.
But it's not.
But it's not
right.
that, but she's not doing it.
well, I've seen this where if she's booking the tent company for 6 different venues.
Right.
Okay, Harper Woods is one venue. She's been doing the Harper Woods event for the last couple of years. So she's already got a reputation for doing the Harper Woods event. She's booking us as one of the 6 venues. I don't have a problem with that. So it's saving us thousands. And I don't think it's a lie because she is still organizing the event.
Right.
Well, we didn't
Then
do a
what-
bidding process. Our local Boy Scouts rent tents. Wouldn't it be the first people that we should go to was our local Boy Scout troop and just at least get a price from them?
Can I interject something in here too? I just want to say that she has worked setting up Arts Beats and Eats. She has a lot of connections. With the stages comes, I want to say, the put up, the set up, the tear down, the moving everything out. To piecemeal this group to do that for some kind of, it's just not going to work. There's just way too many problems. Either we don't have this event at all, period, or we do it the right way.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
I also had the same concern. I guess I would like to see the statement, because in my opinion, you know, if we're merely getting rental of equipment at this fee, I guess that's one thing, but Mrs. Hayes should not be making a profit for the city, you know, on our behalf, and for herself, based on the city. That's the conflict of interest.
Absolutely, if that was the case. And then that's why it said that once the invoices come in, you will be able to see that whatever she paid out was directly the cost of it. She's not making any money off of this.
Well, I can make the invoice after the fact too, though. I can make the numbers
Right.
match up.
Excuse me?
I can make the numbers match up after the fact.
Correct, that's correct.
Okay. However,
Madam
okay,
Mayor.
so whatever way you all want to do this means that
Can we pull the
we
check?
will not, no.
No.
it's really apparent that, you know, there's some kind of distrust or discare about this whole situation. Every time, so if you do not want us to have the Juneteenth celebration, we will stop it right now in here, and that's it. And that means that we will not be having any other kind of festival or stuff here.
Madam
Because-
Mayor,
Yeah, I mean,
Madam Mayor.
it's obviously, it's a sense of distrust of thinking that she's making money off of it. I'm sorry she's not here because she could explain it better herself. But she's not making money off of this. There's no way that she can make money. John and I both trust what she said and what her invoice said. You're right, Tom. You can doctor up anything that you want to doctor up. But that's also saying you're stabbing at her character and her integrity to say that she would
I don't
doctor
have any
up.
supporting documents for
I'm
this.
still talking, guys. That she would give you a doctored up invoice to say that it fits what she is saying is going to happen. So, okay, I'm through.
Madam Mayor,
Madam Mayor, I don't know, Vivian, Councilwoman Sawicki and Councilman LaPrade, they've had issues with her from the beginning. They've always wanted to say she's not qualified, and woman's got a degree, she is qualified, she knows what she's doing, and y'all just still seem to be trying to find some kind of way of discrediting her. It almost seems almost racial.
no, Madam Mayor, I have to say this.
Mm-hmm.
Our ethics code indicates specifically that anyone who works for the city cannot profit from outside business. And this is an outside business that she may be profiting from. We have no supporting documents for the $4,648. And so we have no way of knowing. Plus, we have a Parks and Recreation Department who is tasked with putting on, you know, things for the community. She is someone who is supposed to be in charge of
Who is in charge of the economic development? Don't say
economic
supposed
development.
to.
Right. No. I'm just saying economic development, which is, you're telling me now that if we reject this payment of $4,648, all of a sudden, all of the programs that we want to put on for the community are gone.
Well, how could they be? How could we have it? People are not going to give Hopperwoods the same discounts that the Hayes production gets. So, do you want to spend $30,000
No.
as opposed to what would cost us maybe 10 or 15,000?
And
I don't have any receipt that shows me what this money is for.
We have
This is what we have the
fiduciary
finance
responsibility
director
for
for.
residents of Harper Woods to find out what these checks go to. That's our job. Our job is not to micromanage employees. Whatever Irma Hayes does for the city as her job is fine, but we have a fiduciary responsibility. There's a check on here, we don't know what it's for. I asked what it was for, asked if she is making a profit. You're saying she's not. I want to take your word for it. I don't think it's too
don't
much
take
to
my word
ask
for
for an invoice from her.
Well,
I mean, that's our job. It's not, this isn't, we love Juneteenth. We want it to go on, but we want our residents to get, to know what they're paying for. I don't think that's outrageous.
How
Why
about
do
if
you
I
think
get
the
the
director
invoice?
then?
I'll
I
get,
think that's
I'll get
fair.
the
I think
invoice,
that's fair, yeah.
okay?
oh no, Tom just put it out there already, that the invoice can be doctored up to be whatever that she wants it to be. So how can we trust what we're saying?
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
okay, I just want to make a point that when we do a consent agenda, generally the consent agenda is for things that's already been paid.
No.
No, let me finish. A lot of times the consent, that's why it's called a consent agenda, because usually is for things that's already been paid out and that we're proving it as in we understand what this is for. We may have questions about it, which is fine. And we can get the invoice for the next meeting or whatever and make sure that she's here. But we need to approve or not approve consent agenda.
The commitment has already been made, yes.
Right, that's just
Nothing
what it
has
is,
been
but
paid
it's been made.
because we have to wait for the approval of this meeting. But the commitment and I think the deposits that she already has put out is something that has already been done. But no, everything is cancelable. Yes.
So originally I was a naysayer, but I'm not with this. First of all, in order for her to even get paid, she had to provide the receipt. We just haven't seen it, because it's under the $5,000 for the consent agenda, so it does fall under the consent agenda. So the receipt is there already. Okay, nobody's making anything up after the fact because it's already there. All right. Secondly, this is not any different than, let's say, if Leslie went out and bought office supplies and asked to be reimbursed. Except that instead of reimbursing a person, we're reimbursing an entity. It doesn't matter. It's the same thing. It's like, there is no possible way that she's making a profit on it at this price. It's just not possible. So, I mean, I think we're just, getting into a tizzy about something that's just an ordinary thing.
And our director of finance is making sure everything is legit. I mean, John, so you act like John is in
Right, I don't
cahoots
think
with
this is a
Irma
big
or something.
deal.
That's not fair.
I think it's just a regular expenditure. If it was a high dollar amount, well over 5,000 or even anything like that, yeah, let's take a look at it. But the amount falls in the consent agenda rules. And it's not like it's the first time we've done it. We've been doing this for years, having the Juneteenth. This is not any different than what we've been doing.
Well,
With the exception that we are not paying Irma now because she's doing it under her salary.
But she's doing something different.
Well, we asked for this, basically. We asked for her to do this as part of her job.
right.
So this is, she's scouted out tents, she's got us good deals, she's doing her job.
Yeah.
I don't understand what the big deal is. I mean, yeah, I do, I would see if she was making a profit, yes, that would be a big deal. I could see if it was a large amount, yes, it would be a big deal. But for what it is, it's not a large amount. It's just a reimbursement for expenses, and that's it.
But we
Well,
have
but the
no
difference
idea.
is-
The
We have
receipts
no
got to
idea what
be
it is.
here in the city already.
Well, yeah, the difference is, your example was, if Leslie bought supplies from Quill Office Supply, the city of Harper Woods would be paying a check to Quill Office Supply. Now we have an employee with her production company getting tents from Joe's Tent Service or wherever, and then because she gets a discount, we're now paying through her production company.
Do you want to pay more money?
How do we know?
Yeah, how do we know?
Because I already know the price of tents.
Okay.
I know.
And I trust John
Amazing.
Szymanski's judgment. Director of Finance.
Madam Mayor, I guess I'd be conditional upon seeing the receipts for this. Because I think it really is important to make certain that there are no ethical violations that are going on. I think other communities would do the same thing, especially since we have an ethics rule in place. It's not that I have anything against Ms. Hayes.
I don't
That's
believe that.
not, well, you can believe what you want, but this is something where I think okay, take the example.
So you don't want to sabotage the whole event right now?
No, I don't want to sabotage anything. This is going back to that same concept that if we don't use Irma Hayes production, we're all of a sudden not going to have something. And that's not true. We had our first 1 or 2 Juneteenth programs
3.
in Salter Park that
3.
was not done through this production company.
But we did not have the caliber of people that we've had for the last year.
We had a fascinating and wonderful program when you put it on.
You don't know
I'm-
what I went
all I'm
through.
saying
Right.
is that we did have programs before.
Right.
And our Parks and Rec was working with that.
No.
We had food trucks that were available there. It was a very lovely program, just saying. My concern is not with Mrs. Hayes. My concern is with the idea of an employee of the community, employee of the city, having a production company that we're using. All right? And it might very well be that what Mrs. Costantino is saying is true, that these tents might be outrageously expensive, but we don't have a receipt that is showing us this. And under the condition that Mrs. Hayes is an employee of the community, that this raises the flag that we have to make certain, we have to take that extra step to make certain that this is merely the cost of the equipment and that there's not any fee that's going to her production company that would violate the city's ethics clause. That's my concern, because it does raise the flag of unethical, potentially unethical business practices.
I'd just like something to add here, that the cost is not, it's in the same neighborhood as it was for the past events. We're trying to do things bigger, better, more professional, have the right kind of insurance, setup, takedown. I understand your concerns, but I also want to say something too, that this check is under $5,000, and that is my purview to cut the check. So in terms of stopping this check, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to hold this production up on nitpicking at this point.
Conflict of interest.
Well, prove it. That's all I got to say.
I'd like to see the receipt.
Well, we're having a discussion here, and I will make sure Ms. Hayes comes here and explains. But again, to use her expertise, we have a lot of things scheduled for this summer. And again, she knows her way around this business, staging, tents, insurance, as a one-stop shop. That's all I'm saying at this point.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
I would just like to say that we're lucky to have Irma Hayes working for us.
I
The
agree.
longer I get to know her, the more impressed I am.
Thank you. All right, is there any further discussion?
Madam Mayor, on another, just another question I have, a different check, 132608. Just out of curiosity, it says Point Fitness Dance Room Rental, $2,175.
Yeah.
I'm not certain what that is. I haven't seen anything like this come
We're-
through before.
Yeah, we are going to have recreational programs for our residents here. Point Fitness, we're going to be using their room exclusively on Wednesdays. There's going to be more coming out in the newsletter. And again, you know, they have a very nice facility there. We don't have a recreation center. We don't have a dance room. We sure as heck don't have air conditioning dance room. This is giving our Parks and Rec department more flexibility in terms of setting up recreation programs. And we're going to have, I want to say, live Zumba there. We're going to have Zumba in the pool. We're going to have Zumba in the library. We're opening up a lot of different programs here. And I didn't want to tip my hand because it's all going to be in the newsletter.
Right.
But we're expanding the options. We hear from people, they don't want to sit in the basement anymore. They want to get out and they want to do stuff. And it costs money.
Is this a monthly fee? Is this a?
That's for the whole year.
The 2,100?
Yeah, that's for the whole year for what we're using it for.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Is there any further discussion? Roll call vote, Mrs. Frank.
Councilwoman Costantino.
Yes.
Councilman Jenny.
No.
Councilwoman LaPrat.
No.
Councilwoman Sawicki.
No.
Councilman Tucson.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Williams.
Yes.
Mayor Kindle.
Yes.
Okay, resolution passes.
Okay, that takes us to old business, and we have none. And to new business, and that's city manager's report.
Okay, item G1, public hearing, special assessment. Mayor and council, as scheduled, we will hold a public hearing on Monday night to allow property owners an opportunity to review the monetary impact of the 17.5 mil assessment and also to receive additional public comment and input. For this portion of the agenda, only the standard motions of opening and closing the public hearing will be required. Mayor, a motion is recommended.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
I'd like to make the motion to open the public hearing on the levy of a 17.5 mil assessment to defray the cost to continue and maintain the police and fire protection.
Support.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. So the public hearing is now open. If you have anything you want to say, you need to step to the podium.
Is it just on this item, Ms.
Yes, it
Manager?
is.
Thank you so much. Hello, it's nice to see everyone. I feel because of the amount, 7.5 million, I feel as though this should go to a ballot vote. I have not obtained enough detail exactly what it's going for, but we don't have any more to give. And I believe that the residents, because there isn't too much transparency that I could obtain from the updates on the website, the printouts are so resolute and small with type like 4 font. I feel as though that this should go to a ballot box vote. It's too much money. We just don't have any more to give, Madam Mayor.
Madam Mayor, perhaps it would be valuable to have the acting city manager explain this a little bit, that it's not an increase in our taxes. It's something that we're doing from last year as well, last several years.
The question I have is, what happened to all the money in the first place? We had tons of money, then all of a sudden we're going down, 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 and you want more, more, more. We're still the second highest city in this whole state for taxes. We're only 2.5 miles big. Where are you? What are you doing with all the money? Crying out loud. I lived here 65 years. 65. And in this time, I've never seen this city in worse shape than it is now. So I agree with her. Quit voting on stuff like this by yourselves. This has to go to a ballot. And don't tell me it costs too much. Because for that stupid school we have, you put it on a ballot 4 times. This has to go on a ballot. Let the people vote on this. Because this is baloney. More money. That's all we need. Listen to these words. You live within your means, not over your means. So if we don't have the money, you don't get it. You don't do it. That's it. That's all I have to say.
Anyone else?
Hello. You know, I know we need fire and police, okay? But we were just up here a few minutes ago arguing about a $4,000 check, which to me, why are we putting these things on? I don't care what image our city has. We have high taxes. And you keep coming to us every year for fire and police, but yet you're throwing all this shit on and taking our money and using it for that. I don't see this lowering. It was 19, I see 17 now. But where the hell is all the money from the new project up where Eastland was? Or where's the money going that we're getting from housing that are selling and the taxes are going up on them? What are we doing with all that money?
Hi, I'm Sheila Hakeem. I live on Littlestone. Just to put this in perspective, it seems like the taxes are going down from the previous years.
Correct.
The problem is this, when you keep, somebody bought a house in Harper Woods today for $200,000, they would pay $18,148 a year in taxes. You're depressing property values. If you bought a property for $200,000 in Detroit, you would pay $13,839. If you bought a property in Grosse Pointe for $200,000, good luck, but if you could find one, it's $10,682. So you need to put the price point somewhere that's affordable. People don't want to move here and spend $18,000 a year in taxes. That's the bottom line. We could make ourselves more marketable by being more competitive tax-wise. I mean, City of Detroit's under us, but not by much. I mean, look, that's where our advantage is. I mean, we have nice houses. You know, I live in Grosse Pointe neighborhood. You can't find a house in Grosse Pointe for $200,000. So the property values go up, their percentage goes down, but dollar figures, they're still paying high taxes.
Mm-hmm.
Our property taxes our property values are low, so our percentages are up.
Mm-hmm.
So what you do is you bring up property values and you can reduce spending. Some of the litigation that we're involved in is questionable. And I wonder how much money we're spending there that's totally unnecessary. So that's another factor. You can't just blame property values gotta go up and this has gotta be the case. There's more than one area to look at. But things need to be put in perspective. People don't want to spend $18,000 a year for property taxes here. And they don't want to spend 17 or 16. And that little drop's not going to make a huge difference. So thank you for your time, but I just want to bring some perspective.
I'd like to add something too. We have our assessor here, and 18, I don't know where you got that figure from. Okay, I really don't. She deals with these numbers every single day.
I think you may have just doubled it. So if you have a house valued at $200,000, it's half. So then I just did the math, it's around that. Nobody pays $18,000 in taxes like this. I think, yeah, so what's happening is you have to put in half the value. Oh, you're talking about state equalizer. Yeah. And not go with that. Right, exactly. Okay, you got it. So I stand corrected on that.
Okay, and there were a lot of misstatements here, a lot of misstatements being thrown
I'm having a
around.
heart attack.
We are lowering
Two
your
in our house
taxes.
is too many heart attacks.
We are lowering your taxes here.
One more thing, though. I would like to see us have the option of putting property taxes on our credit card. I would like to.
You can pay
Yeah.
your property taxes right now off of your phone app. You see Maria right after. You can
Okay,
pay them
because
right off
I
your
went
phone.
online to do it, and I was having I'm talking about recurring.
You-
Not just paying the taxes one time, just the reoccurring taxes. I would like to set up a recurring payment.
See Maria
do that.
afterwards. Yeah, we've had this for a couple of years.
Okay, because
Yeah.
that's what I tried to do. Do we do it on credit cards, or you have to do it on bank statement?
See you guys,
Yeah.
time is up. Okay. All right. Anyone else for the public hearing?
Madam Mayor, can we speak now? Okay. This particular special assessment is something that we do every year. And it's to help, and I hope that, well, if John could just explain more of what it's actually for, so that people understand what we're doing this for. And also, it's a tax decrease, because it was 19.
It started at 20.
Started at 20, we're actually bringing it down. So it's to cut taxes. No, it's not an increase, it's something that we do every year. And John needs to explain what the purpose of this is, so that you understand why we do this.
We would have to, if this assessment didn't go through, we've had it for 13 years here. And it was caused by the Great Recession that hit this town. Our town is just starting to recover. When Eastland went under, all the properties, business and residential, went down. However, the cost of running a police department and a fire department still remain the same, even if they're in Grosse Pointe, if they're in Detroit, if they're in Harper Woods, the cost is virtually the same. If we did not have this assessment, what would happen would be we would have to immediately lay off about 14 police officers, 3 firefighters, our dispatch. We would only have enough employees to host an election and collect taxes. That's it. That's it. You would be gutting your general fund of 1/3 of all of their property tax monies. When we went to Lansing to get the law changed, which we did, we didn't know what we were going to come up against. Every single person that sat on the House Finance Committee understood correctly the position that we were in, and they gave us a unanimous yes right across the board to continue this assessment. That's why we're doing it. We know we have high taxes here, but the point being is it costs a lot of money for police and fire. And there's absolutely no way you're going to get out of that. So we've been paying it for 13 years. We are winding down the tax bill as much as we possibly can, but we can't do it all at once. We can't lay off everybody at one time. So that's why we need this assessment. It's not new. We've been doing it for about 13 years, and it was 20 mils. Now people are arguing about 17 and a half. This is a tax cut, and we're going to have more tax cuts going down the road. But they're not going to, we're proving it right now.
Madam Mayor?
Yeah, well, here it is.
We're not having a conversation with the audience.
Right. Madam Mayor? I just wanted to also explain, it's not $17 million. It's 17 mils, which is a portion, I don't know what the translation is. John, perhaps you could explain what a mill is.
It's, a mill translates to roughly about $245,000, okay, in this community here. And it comes down to, this chunk is about little over $4 million. That's what it cost to run your police department and your fire department in this town. By state law, we cannot charge things that we can't use this money for.
Right.
This money goes strictly toward police, strictly toward fire, for equipment, for cars, everything related. Upkeep, housing, keeping our 911 dispatch up and current and with latest software. That's what you're using this money for.
Thank you.
Yes.
I mean, you're right. Ms. Hakeem is saying that our property taxes are high. I've said that at meetings before. Our property taxes are too high, and that's why we are trying to lower them little by little, and eventually we'll get there. But one of the problems we had was we inherited all these legacy costs going way back before any of us were on council. And legacy costs are the costs of a retirement for our employees and different things like that. So at one point, the legacy costs were equal to what we were taking in property taxes. And that's when we started this, because if we didn't have it, we would not have police and fire at all. And we've been trying different things to make it the burden less on you. And we will continue, and I will continue to push for you, and I know that none of us want property taxes to be high. I own several houses in Harper Woods and properties in Harper Woods, and so I pay a lot of property taxes, and a lot of them are not homestead, so it's like paying double taxes. So everything that happens to you is happening to me bigger, way, way, way bigger. And so I had the same problem when my own daughter, who you all have watched grow up, wanted to buy a house and wanted to live in Harper Woods, looked at a $200,000 house and said, oh my gosh, I can't afford this. Not because of the $200,000 house, she's an engineer, but because of the property taxes. And I was like, my own child, we need to be able to make it affordable for her to live here. She ended up buying an $80,000 house, the little 2-bedroom on Roscommon, but we are working on it, is what I'm saying. Okay, we are trying. Fortunately, most of you have been residents a long time. You're kind of grandfathered in on the taxes. You aren't paying what a new buyer's paying right now. But
we will in 15 years.
And ultimately, the taxes won't be that high in 15 years. As soon as we get all of these houses in place, or the new things in place, the buildings that we've got where Eastland was, all that, once that tax revenue is coming in, then we can back off on the residents. Trust me, I would not have a tax that I didn't think was necessary. Okay? I am very fiscally conservative, but if we don't do this, we don't have police and fire. I mean, or just a very minimum, and it takes money away from everything else.
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
And we haven't revealed it yet either, but we've got some other conversations going on about other ways that we're going to be reducing taxes, and hopefully we'll be laying those things out in sometime soon in the future. And they seem pretty promising, so we are working at it. We've got some things in mind.
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
Can I point out that our budget meetings are public meetings? Everyone is welcome to come and see what the budget is. And in our city calendar, there's a pie chart that shows how much of your tax money is going to police and fire, and it's nearly 80% of all taxes go to police and fire. And we value these guys. I think everybody in this room does, so we need to pay them. But look in the calendar, it shows what the budget is. It's not the little sliver going to police and fire, it's the majority of your taxes. And look at your tax bill. Your tax bill isn't what you think it is. One of your biggest costs is schools. We don't get that. And then a ton of it goes to the state of Michigan. It's not coming to us. You can see exactly what comes to the city of Harper Woods by looking at your tax bill.
And Madam Mayor, it's also worth pointing out that this is not a new tax. This is something that we've been paying for quite a while, and we will see a reduction in this tax. All right, so with that.
Any further discussion?
Can I say one more thing?
It's public hearing is still open.
Well, no, I just want to say, somebody's talking, this is a legacy, but from what I remember, I've lived here my whole life, and there's, I think, one or two of you on city council when we had Lideline as our city manager and Mayor Pointner, and at that time, the state of Michigan was taking away the money for the students in the schools. That's when all this fiasco started. Because I sat right here at this podium and asked Mr. Lideline if we had enough money that this was going to be covered. And he told me perfectly that we had enough money in our coffers to last us 20 years. Well, apparently we didn't. Because this is what's happening now. They took the money away for all the schools. And it didn't just happen in Harper Woods. It happened in every city. So from that point on, I kept saying, why do we keep doing this? We're buying this. We built a $30 million school for what? Notre Dame, Lutheran East, Regina. Those 3 schools were available, but oh no, we need a $30 million school. For what? Now, them 3 schools have more students in them than all of Harper Woods school district. And they're getting better grades than our kids. For what? That's what I'm trying to say. And then here, we want a $3 million, $80 million community center. We had one for 40 years right behind AMVETS Hall. For 40 years. Now, my suggestion is you own that building probably on Kelly Road, the old electronic place. I don't know what you're using it for, but that's a perfect building for a community center. And if you try to say, oh, our offices are there, your offices are supposed to be in this building. And you know what you can do? The jail cells downstairs, they don't get used that much. You can make offices out of those. That building is perfect for a community center. And you don't need $8 million.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak for the open?
May I say something?
Come on, honey, I'll help you. We're getting old. They hit me with
I'm
that
getting
next
better.
rad so bad, I felt my head was gonna pop off. You guys know what next rad is, right? I'd like to remind the class that in 2008, my Milk River drain taxes were $160 a year.
Okay.
Yeah, I stood here and I said, I understand that we need fire and police. I'm back of them 100%. And it's not the highest percentage. You have to look at the tax bill like you said. The average resident that's in the Harper Woods school system is paying 19 mills. You got 19 mills there, you got 17 mills here on top of everything else. And they have 1,893 students at that school, which is more than what they can really handle. And they won't lower their tax. That would help also in influencing the school, the superintendent, that he needs to start giving a break is the amount of money that he's getting in instead of getting the salary and everything else that they gave him, including the bonus.
Madam Mayor, may I? Please understand that we have nothing to do with the schools. The school taxes and all of that, go to school board meeting, complain to them. We collect the
They won't let you
taxes,
go.
but yeah, they're not,
I've been asked to leave several times.
yeah.
because
I'm
of
just
what I
saying,
pointed out.
it doesn't help to
I
tell us
understand, but
here.
What I'm saying is, I'm just trying to put a perspective that the 17 mills and the regular, but you also have the 19, which makes everything that much higher.
Right,
But you also have an entity here in Harper Woods
we get it.
that's making millions of dollars on its students and not lowering the taxes. And they gave him an exorbitant wages this year, including a bonus on every student that he gets and keeps.
Thank you.
All right, is there anyone else that wants to speak on the public hearing? Seeing none, I need a
Madam
motion
Mayor,
to
I'd love
close.
make the motion to close the public hearing.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Public hearing is now closed.
Okay, item number 2, adopt resolution, special assessment district. Mayor and council, with the public hearing now having been held, it is recommended that the attached resolutions be adopted to continue a special assessment district in the city of Harper Woods and further, to direct the assessor to spread the assessment levy on the taxable value of all lands and premises within the municipal boundaries of the city of Harper Woods to defray the cost to continue maintenance and operations of police and fire, 8.75 mils for police and 8.75 for fire. Mayor, a resolution is recommended.
Madam Mayor?
Make the resolution to adopt the attached resolutions to continue a special assessment district from the city of Harper Woods and further to direct the city assessor to spread the assessment levy of 17.5 mils on the taxable value of all lands and premises within the municipal boundaries of the city of Harper Woods to defray the cost to continue maintenance and operations of police and fire, 8.75 mils for police and 8.75 for fire.
Support.
Any discussion? Roll call vote, Mrs. Franks.
Councilman Jenny.
Yes.
Councilwoman LaPrat.
Yes.
Councilwoman Sawicki.
Yes.
Councilman Tucson.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Williams.
Yes.
Mayor Kindle.
Yes.
Councilwoman Constantino.
Yes.
Resolution passes.
Okay.
Okay, and I would just like to add that if anybody wants to look at their property taxes, they're in those books right there on the side. You can help yourself to that. Okay, new business item number 3, changes in poverty guidelines. Mayor and council, attached is a memorandum from our city assessor requesting an update to the poverty guidelines in the city following a change made by the State Tax Commission to update the asset guidelines. It is now required to state in the policy that an applicant can have ownership interest in other real estate. However, the value of any additional property owned by the applicant will be included in the asset test. I have attached the updated packet, which includes the application, guidelines, and instruction for poverty exemption as submitted by the assessor. I have reviewed this with her and recommend that this change be approved, and our city assessor is here to answer any questions that the council may have.
Okay, a resolution I need.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
I'll make the resolution. By resolution, approve the updated poverty guidelines and policy for the city of Harper Woods to include the following language. The value of any additional property owned by the applicant will be included in the asset test.
Support.
Any discussion?
Madam Mayor? The only question I have is how many people in our community, or how many properties may be affected by this?
Holly, would you care to come to the mic, please?
Good evening. As far as how many people would be affected would be based on how many people apply. So there's 3 times a year that you can come in. It's either March, July, or December. You can only come in one of those times. You can't come in all 3. So for example, in March, we had 8 applicants and 6 were granted thus far. So.
Okay. And is that roughly speaking the same number that you anticipate every year?
It varies. Last year, we had a total of 16 applicants, 10 were granted.
All right. Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome. Any other questions?
Yes.
What percentage of these people that are applying do you think own other properties, and how many of them, or do you think it's gonna knock out of the running?
No.
Because it seems to me if you own another property, that's gonna instantly knock you out.
So far, we haven't had anybody that's applied that has fallen under owning other property. So the State Tax Commission, the assessor's office, they get audited every 5 years. It's mandatory under the state. And Wayne County is in their 5-year audit right now. So every community in the county of Wayne is getting audited. And one of the guidelines on the asset test, they felt they were too restrictive to not allow anyone to have owner interest in any other property. So it just has to be converted into a value. And at this point, it would not affect anybody that has applied in Harper Woods.
How would you convert the value of the house? I mean, because to apply, a one-member person would have $15,060 to be in poverty, but if you own, let's say you have a small house somewhere.
Yeah, probably,
Like, but
you
you
probably won't
wanna-
qualify. So the way if you read the way it works is the maximum total allowed liquid assets cannot exceed the amount of the projected 25 taxes plus 50% for the entire household. So for example, I did work up one. Let's say the projected tax on a house is $4,200 for the year. The household income was $14,600. That was actually somebody's income I used. So that would be $7,300. So the total allowable would be $11,500. It's probably pretty safe to say that you could come up and realize whether they're going to qualify if they own additional assets of other property that they probably would not.
So do you take the full amount of the property? Or?
Correct. We would ask them for information, you know, on the property. We would do our own assessment of that.
So basically, if someone wanted to do that, the only way they could apply is if they transferred the other property out of their name.
Correct. I mean, we used to not even allow them to have any ownership, but now we are, and yes, it will probably affect their application. They wouldn't qualify.
Basically, it's not allowing them to, own
Well,
other
I mean,
property
you have
because
to look
there's
at,
no-
it's an income hardship. So if
Yeah.
you're coming in to ask to have a reduction in your taxes and you own other property, I mean, that's not what it's for. Sell your other property or, you can't ask us to lower your taxes, but you have all these assets sitting there. That's, you have to account for that to see if you would qualify based on your income. But assets are income, and they have to consider that. That's mandatory by the state. It's not a choice.
So we don't have a choice on voting for this, basically.
No. It's, unless we'll fail our audit. So it's been a requirement by the State Tax Commission, which is under the Department of Treasury, that we change the language. Or we'll fail that part of the audit. And I have my meeting with them May 27th, so I'll be going to them and letting them know that either you passed it or you did not.
Americanism.
I mean, it's the one part of the audit. The city's passed everything. They're just asking us to change the language, one sentence, on our guidelines for the poverty. That's it. Which I think is a fair request. They don't want to just tell somebody you don't have an opportunity because you own a house or other property. They felt it was too restrictive.
Okay. Is there any further discussion? Roll call vote, Mrs. Frank?
Councilwoman LaPrat.
Yes.
Councilwoman
Thank you,
Sawicki.
Holly.
Yes.
Councilman Tucson.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Williams.
Yes.
Mayor Kindle.
Yes.
Councilwoman Costantino.
No.
Councilman Jenny.
Yes.
The whole thing is irritating.
Thank you.
Thank you, Holly. Okay, item G4, introduction and first reading, draft zoning ordinance. Mayor and council attaches a memorandum from the city clerk forwarding the planning commission's recommendation that the draft zoning ordinance be introduced and placed for first reading. As her memo states, the planning commission recently held a public hearing on this matter, and consistent with section 10-780 of the current zoning ordinance, it is the responsibility of the city council to adopt the ordinance. I have reviewed this, and it is my recommendation that this ordinance be introduced and placed for first reading. Mayor, a resolution is recommended.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
make a resolution to introduce and place for first reading the City of Harper Woods draft zoning ordinance, which replaces zoning ordinance 2013-04, and further to direct the city clerk to publish a notice of this in accordance with the city charter requirements.
Support.
Any discussion? Roll call vote, Mrs. Frank?
Councilwoman Sawicki.
Yes.
Councilman Tucson.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Williams.
Yes.
Mayor Kindle.
Yes.
Councilwoman Costantino.
Yes.
Councilman Jenny.
Yes.
Councilwoman LaPrat.
Yes.
Resolution passes.
Okay, item G5, progress payment number 1, payment joint crack ceiling project number 180-366. Mayor and council attaches a letter from our city engineers transmitting progress payment number 1 on the payment joint crack ceiling project number 180-366. It is recommended that this payment be approved.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
make a resolution to approve payment to Michigan Joint Ceiling Incorporated in the amount of $62,430.91 for progress payment number 1 on the pavement joint and crack sealing project number 180-366.
Support.
Discussion. Roll call vote, Ms. Frank.
Councilman Tucson.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Williams.
Yes.
Mayor Kindle.
Yes.
Councilwoman Costantino.
Yes.
Councilman Jenny.
Yes.
Councilwoman LaPrat.
Yes.
Councilwoman Sawicki.
Yes.
Okay, resolution passes.
Okay, item G6, progress payment number 1, concrete pavement repair project number 180-363. Mayor and council, attached is a letter from our city engineers transmitting progress payment number 1 on the concrete pavement repair project number 180-363. It is recommended that this payment be approved. Mayor, a resolution is recommended.
Mayor,
Yes.
by resolution, approve payment to L. Anthony Construction, Inc. in the amount of $115,602.12 for progress payment number 1 on the concrete pavement repair project number 180-363.
Support.
Discussion?
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
Yes, I know this is the first payment, so I was just wondering how far along is the project right now?
Probably about 1/3, if that. I want to say that there has been a lot of work done in the city, but it's going to take place probably the entire summer.
Any further discussion?
Oh, yeah, Madam Mayor. It may have been said, I just don't remember it. We call it project payment number 1. You think that'd be a 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or?
I don't know about 7, but probably, yeah, I hope there's probably about 2 or 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. It says 39% of the contract's been completed.
Yeah.
Okay. Roll call vote, Mrs. Frank.
Mayor Pro Tem Williams.
Yes.
Mayor Kindle.
Yes.
Councilwoman Costantino.
Yes.
Councilman Jenny.
Yes.
Councilwoman LaPrat.
Yes.
Councilwoman Sawicki.
Yes.
Councilman Tucson.
Yes.
Okay, resolution passes.
Okay, item G7, progress payment number 3, DWSRF lead water service replacement number 180-331. Mayor and council, attaches a letter from our city engineers transmitting progress payment number 3 on the DWSRF lead water service replacement program number 180-331. It is recommended that this payment be approved. Mayor, a resolution is recommended.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
make a resolution to approve payment to Super Construction LLC in the amount of $75,150 for progress payment number 3 in the DWSRF lead service replacement number 180-331.
Support.
Any discussion?
Madam Mayor?
Mm-hmm.
We received an update from AEW Engineers earlier this month. And on the DWSRF lead water service replacement program update, they'd said that the work has been progressing very slowly. Approximately 25% or 1/5 of the services have been replaced. And they said that work must be completed by June 30th of 2025, which is startling, and I'm just wondering if that was a mistype, if there is, has this been all of a sudden, a lot more effectively done? I'm just not certain what's going on here.
Heather?
The original funds are available for much longer. I believe they expire in '27. The original contract was written to be completed by June. We can just do a contract modification to extend the length of the original contract in order to fulfill our replacement needs.
And have they only completed 1/5 of the work so far?
That is correct.
All right, are they on target to get this work done in the
They'll get it
appropriate
done.
amount of time? Yes?
Yes.
Okay.
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
It says that the current contract amount, the total amount will be $988,400, and the percent completed is 14%. But maybe they completed some more since this has been updated to us, or sent to us. And that we've we paid a $13,825 dollar retainer, and then we made a $49,275 payment already. The total earnings to date is $138,250, so this is way early in the project.
It is.
So, I hope they're done. I mean, that'll be nice, except we'll have a giant payment to make.
Well, it's part of the revolving fund grant, so
Yeah.
we have to spend it by a certain amount of time, or else they're not gonna fulfill their contract, so then they'll be in breach.
And is 80% covered by the grant?
I don't think it was that high, John, do you remember?
I would have to look, you know, I'll get back
For some
with
reason,
you.
that's the amount that is in my head, that 80% is covered by the grant. And we pay 20%.
49% is forgiven.
How much?
49% is forgiven.
49% is forgiven.
Yeah, there's forgiveness on the principal as you make your payments, okay? But what that equates to as a percentage of the whole contract, I'll get that information for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I might be applying it to a different water thing that we had a grant for.
We have quite a few rolling around right now.
Yeah.
Is there any further discussion?
Madam Mayor?
Mm-hmm.
So we're about 1/5, so they're about 1/5 of the way finished,
Correct.
and they started this around
They started at the end of last year.
last year. So they expect to be finished by 2027?
They have to be. We are hoping to get them much further along into the
Yeah.
process by the end of this year.
Any further discussion? Roll call vote, Mrs. Frank?
Mayor Kindle,
Yes.
Councilwoman Costantino,
Yes.
Councilman Jenny.
Yes.
Councilwoman LaPrat.
Yes.
Councilwoman Sawicki.
Yes.
Councilman Tucson.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Williams.
Yes.
Okay, resolution passes.
Okay, item G8, progress payment number 3, City Hall Generator, project number 180-291. Mayor and Council, attached is a letter from our city engineers transmitting progress payment number 3 on the City Hall Generator, project number 180-291. It is recommended that this payment be approved. Mayor, a resolution is recommended.
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
By resolution, approved payment to LJ Rose Mechanical in the amount of $13,881.30 for progress payment number 3 on the City Hall Generator Project number 180-291.
Support.
Discussion?
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
So, this says percent completed of the contract is 70%. But, like, do we actually have the generator? Are we just making payments on it, or what's going on?
Heather, you might as well come
Everything's
back.
coming
You should have brought a picture of it.
We do have the generator on site.
Yeah.
It is in the back. It's that big green monstrosity that's on top. We are waiting for DTE now to do their hookup to our generator, and then we'll have to go through testing and then finalize all the hookups. But the generator is on site.
Any
Madam Mayor?
further discussion? Yes.
Yeah, I'm looking so forward to you getting this generator.
I know, me too.
All of us are.
Y'all have more power outages around here than in my own neighborhood. So yeah,
Okay. Is there any further discussion? Roll call vote, Ms. Frank?
Councilwoman Costantino.
Yes.
Councilwoman LaPrat.
Yes.
Councilman Jenny.
Yes.
Councilwoman Sawicki.
Yes.
Councilman Tucson.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Williams.
Yes.
Mayor Kindle.
Yes.
Okay, resolution passes.
Okay, item G9, contract extension, 2025 Storm Sewer and Catch Basin Repair Program. Mayor and Council, attached is a correspondence from our city engineers regarding our storm sewer and catch basin repair program. We have been reviewing an offer from Great Lakes Contracting, who did last year's project, to honor their existing prices for an extension for 2025. By extending this contract, We save the cost of preparing new bid specifications, advertising, and other startup costs. Further, based on other recent bids, we do not feel that bidding will result in lower prices. This work is spread throughout the city and contractors usually bid higher because of this, and it would not be cost-effective to rebid it. I have discussed this at length with the engineers and agree with their recommendation. We recommend that the modification be approved. Mayor, a resolution is recommended.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
I'll offer the resolution to approve the contract modification in an amount not to exceed $340,000 with Great Lakes Contracting for the 2025 Storm Sewer and Catch Basin Repair Program, number 180-362.
Support.
Oh, any discussion?
Madam Mayor? I assume that there is no complaint from our DPW with this company.
No complaints at all.
All right, thank you.
Roll call vote, Mrs. Frank.
Councilman Jenny.
Yes.
Councilwoman LaPrat.
Yes.
Councilwoman Sawicki.
Yes.
Councilman Tucson.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Williams.
Yes.
Mayor Kindle.
Yes.
Councilwoman Costantino.
Yes.
Okay, resolution passes.
Okay, item G10, contract modification number 1, 2025 sewer cleaning and CCTV investigation number 180-365. Mayor and council, attached is a contract modification to the sewer cleaning and CCTV investigation project in the amount of $7,412.50. Due to some backup issues with the sanitary sewer system at City Hall, we requested that a full cleaning and CCTV investigation be performed to determine the cause of the backups. It appears that the sanitary sewer system in the City Hall complex has never been cleaned nor televised, and it is very much overdue. I have reviewed this, and it is my recommendation that this be approved. Mayor, a resolution is recommended.
Madam Mayor? Make a resolution to approve contract modification number 1 on the 2025 sewer cleaning and CCTV investigating project number 180-365 in the amount of $7,412.50.
Support.
Any discussion? Roll call vote, Mrs. Frank.
Councilwoman Costantino.
Yes.
Councilman Jenny.
Yes.
Councilwoman LaPrat.
Yes.
Councilwoman Sawicki.
Yes.
Councilman Tucson.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Williams.
Yes.
Mayor Kindle. Resolution passes.
Okay, item G11, resolution, gun violence awareness. Mayor and council, a resolution in support of the first Friday in June to be National Gun Violence Awareness Day is attached for your consideration. June 6, 2025 will be recognized as a day to honor all affected by gun violence and to encourage the community to wear orange in support of the resolution. Wear Orange Day has been recognized by cities, businesses, sports teams, and national organizations. It is recommended that this be adopted to show our support. Mayor, a resolution is recommended.
Go ahead,
Madam
Brad.
Yes.
June 6th. By resolution, to adopt the resolution in support of declaring the first Friday in June, June 6, 2025, to be National Gun Violence Awareness Day.
Support.
Any discussion?
Yes, Madam Mayor. I like this resolution here, and see, I even wore my orange tonight, in support of this whole gun violence.
Okay,
thing.
do you want to elaborate, Councilwoman LaPrat?
I can elaborate a little bit. It was, this all started in, there was a young woman that lived in Chicago that had marched in the Obama parade, and then a few days later was shot and killed in a park. And her favorite color was orange, but orange is, what hunters wear. It's easily recognizable. So this is a movement that just, we want this to stop. Some of us marched on last Friday over at Kelly and 8 Mile to just bring awareness. So it's, I know the Grosse Pointe Public School System adopted this. I know some other cities are adopting it tonight. So it's just to bring awareness. Everybody wear orange that day, and there's some festivities going on all weekend. But That's really what it's about.
All right. Any further discussion? Yes?
I don't know if the public has read this or not, but I'm just gonna read one of them. Whereas support for the Second Amendment rights of law-abiding citizens goes hand in hand with keeping guns away from people with dangerous histories. And then anyone can join this campaign by pledging to wear orange on June 6th, the first Friday in June, to help raise awareness about gun violence.
Okay. All right, any further discussion?
Yeah, I was gonna say, this is only a one-page resolution. Would it be okay if somebody just read the whole thing? It's only one page. It's not long, so that the public would know what it actually say.
I'm happy to read it.
Yes, go ahead.
All right, declaring the first Friday in June to be National Gun Violence Awareness Day. This proclamation declares the first Friday in June to be the National Gun Violence Awareness Day in the city of Harper Woods, to honor and to remember all victims and survivors of gun violence, and to declare that we as a country must do more to end this public health crisis. Whereas every day more than 120 Americans are killed by gun violence and more than 200 are shot and wounded, with an average of more than 17,000 gun homicides every year. And whereas protecting public safety in the communities they serve is the mayor's highest responsibility. And whereas support for the Second Amendment rights of law-abiding citizens goes hand in hand with keeping guns away from people with dangerous histories. And whereas mayors and law enforcement officers, in partnership with local violence intervention activists and resources, know their communities best and are the most familiar with local criminal activity and how to address it, and are positioned to understand how to keep their citizens safe. And whereas the community placed orange ribbons around trees and are requesting that June 6, 2025 be recognized as a day to wear orange, a color that symbolizes the value of human life and in tribute to all victims and survivors of gun violence. Whereas anyone can join this campaign by pledging to wear orange on June 6th, the first Friday in June 2025, to help raise awareness about gun violence. And whereas by wearing orange on June 6, 2025, Americans will raise awareness about gun violence and honor the lives of gun violence victims and survivors. And whereas we renew our commitment to reduce gun violence and pledge to do all we can to keep firearms out of the hands of people who should not have access to them, and encourage responsible gun ownership to help keep our families and communities safe. Now, therefore, it shall be resolved that Mayor Valerie Kindle of the City of Harper Woods declares the first Friday in June 6, 2025 to be National Gun Violence Awareness Day. She encourages all citizens to support their local community's efforts to prevent the tragic effects of gun violence and to honor and value human lives.
Madam Mayor?
Yes?
In addition to this, I'm curious. I know that in the past, I believe that in the past, our police department has had gun locks available. I
still do?
assume that's still the case. And so I think that if we can put this on our city website and encourage anyone who has a gun to get a lock and see the police department about getting a lock, I think that would go a long way toward helping our residents as well.
Okay. That's, I believe something that's doable.
Thank you.
Is there any further discussion? Roll call vote, Ms. Frank.
Councilman Jenny.
Yes.
Councilwoman LaPrat.
Yes.
Councilwoman Sawicki.
Yes.
Councilman Tucson.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Williams.
Yes.
Mayor Kindle.
Yes.
Councilwoman Costantino.
Yes.
Resolution passes.
And that concludes the city manager's reports.
Okay, then this takes us to call the audience, and you have 3 minutes to speak on whatever you choose to speak on. One time only, we have a closed session tonight, so
Two.
We're standing in line.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Janetta Tabaron. I live on Rose Court. I am the vice president of the Harperwood School Board, and I wanted to give some information regarding what's going on in the Harperwood School District. We are focusing on expanding our partnership with the Corewell Health Organization, aligned with the following programs. The following programs are nursing, dietitian, emergency medical technician placement, which will be based on program approval and allocation of space. And the CCI Center, which is located on 8 Mile and Kelly Road, will support the dietitian program with our culinary arts program for additional certification. Also, we have a board meeting tomorrow at 7 o'clock in the high school in the auditorium. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
May I approach you with this community activity survey, please? I'm a member of the NEDC, and we're asking the community to give us some input on some activities that they would like to incorporate for, probably not this year, but next year. But we're taking initiative now to ask you now so that we can have a compiled list of things that the community said that they would like to have in their community. And once we get that information, once we get a nice little small population of what the community says, we will make copies for each of you to have with their vital information, and you can fill that up too if you would like to, so that we will let you know that the community are giving some input on what they would like to see in the community. And I'm also share this with Parks and Recs because I know she sees a lot more people that they too can fill out this survey. And once we get enough of those completed, then we'll make sure that each of the council will have a copy of all of what the community has said, what they would like to see, and then you guys can have a discussion what is more, what can be done. And that way you'll have a list of what the community said they would like to see in the community as well. Because communication with the public is very important, and not everybody has access to the internet, so sometimes you have to go old school and kill some trees, but this is what most people are accustomed of doing anyway, so they like to see paperwork. And also, that's the end of that conversation. As you heard earlier this meeting, social media is a tool that we all know are used to get the hype out of people. And one thing that I do not rely on a lot of times, depending on who's presenting the information, is social media. Now, some people use it for the right reasons, some people stir up stuff. And I just want to say to everybody up here, you're doing an excellent job. You're doing what the community, you're doing what you feel as though you're giving back to the community. And I do know this. Getting people upset is not going to make you do your job effectively.
All right. Thank you.
That's what I have to say.
Good evening. My name is Margot Thomas. I live on Damon Street.
Ma'am, can you speak up a little louder, please?
Is this on?
It's not that good.
Okay. My name is Margot Thomas, and I live on Damon Street out in Harper Woods, and we've been a resident for like going on 29 years. And I have two things I wanted to talk about really quickly. The tree trimming for the trees that's on the city park. We've been on it for 2 years now, and we're still waiting for one of the trees that on the city park to get trimmed. And we're just afraid that the branches may fall on a person or on a car, And we just was wondering what was taking the city so long to do that, to trim the tree.
You know what, after the meeting, please see Heather right here. We're employing contractors right now to go through the city. Our own crews are doing it when, between other jobs, but just see her and give her your address.
Okay,
Okay? 'Cause
thank you.
this is the right time for that.
Okay, and then my second thing was, we stay on Damon, and we have a stop sign at Damon and Peerless. It's like a four-way type of traffic stops. But the one that goes straight through, people just go straight through it. It's rare that someone is stopping at the stop sign. It's usually just traffic, and we're just kind of waiting on a really bad accident to kind of happen. And I was wondering, I know the city seems like it's strapped for money, but is there any way that maybe some type of traffic stop sign or something that could maybe take a picture of these people's license plates and ticket them? And I mean, at least the city will be making some money from that, but it's just ridiculous. It's just, it's nonstop all day. They just blow right through the stop sign.
You could see Chief Hammerly after the meeting. He's standing right here.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Kelvin Thomas. I'm Margot's husband. So same thing applies. I lived in Harper Woods for 29 years. I have two issues. I might be talking to the chief also, but one of them is not only did they run that stop sign, they're speeding down the street. There is a speed bump between like Peerless and Beaconsfield as people go to the school, but it seemed like it needs to be another one down a little farther, down maybe between Peerless and 94, maybe somewhere near the stop sign. That probably would help also, so people would slow down a little bit, because they are kind of drag racing through that intersection, through that stop sign there. So we think that'll help. And my other issue is the commercial vehicles parked on the street. I know they used to have something where they would, if a commercial vehicle parked on the street with signs on it, they would tickle and they parking overnight. So we getting some of that on that street also, and then oversized vehicles parked on the street. I don't know if it's some ordinance for that also. The oversized vehicles that parked on the street. These are like buses that's bigger than school buses parked on there and left overnight. So we've been kind of having that also, and it's, so those are the two issues that we are concerned with also.
All right.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Teresa Foster. I live on Woodland. I'm looking for an update on the city manager position, the one that would be forward-thinking. On April 20th, it was stated that there had been a possible candidate for the permanent city manager position. If this indeed is the case, we all know this can be a comprehensive vetting process, and it leads itself a few questions. Has there been an initial screening and resume review? Will the interviews be conducted, and with whom? Will a panel be convened, made of both administrators and citizens? To assess a candidate's skill, experience, and personality, will questions be asked to understand how the candidates have handled past challenges and situations? Will there be, or has there been, reference checks to gather feedback on the candidate's work history, skills, and character? Will there be a background check, a good idea to verify employment history, education, and criminal records? Will this individual be a good fit? This will ensure the candidates aligns with the city's values and work environments. And finally, will there be a mutual agreement upon goals and preferences performance reviews process? Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. First thing I'd like to do is a little commercial. Boy Scouts, Troop 273, spaghetti dinner, June 11th, AMVETS, from about 5 to 8 o'clock. All you can eat. And I think it's gonna be like 20 bucks. And I have it on good authority that the spaghetti and all that are gonna be prepared by chefs. Not the kids. But we know somebody that's gonna bring in the spaghetti. Okay, the second thing would be, who's going around and checking the cracks that they're filling? Because over on Mrs. Constantine's street, we cut our grass, and we were over there the other day when they were doing it, and I'll tell you what, they did a shitty job. I mean, a real shitty job.
They're going back to do that. I saw exactly the same thing, okay? And they've had some overruns, they've had that emulsion, when it settles the way gravity pulls it, and they're coming back, they're coming back on Williamsburg Court.
Okay, because, I mean, it really sank, and,
Yeah,
I mean...
I hear you.
Okay. The other thing is the water lines, they were going gangbusters on my street on Ross Common. They started up at Kelly and down at Beaconsfield, and they were going this way, and then all of a sudden it stopped. They were doing, they're doing Lansdowne, which is, okay, great. But yeah. One other thing would be, I'd like to see an ordinance change, and I guess I may have missed, it says first reading. I don't know if you read it. Maybe I missed it when you were supposed to read it, what the zoning was. Anyhow, I'd like to see us change the amount of time a person has to, once they've been tagged, to cut their grass. Right now, it's 36 hours. St. Clair Shores gives you 12 hours, okay? And a second time, it's double. They don't wait. They just send somebody out to do it, okay? And charge them. But we've got people that, in this city, that they'll wait till they get tagged, then they'll cut it, and then they'll wait till they get tagged again. And I got one guy at 19127. He cuts the front, never cuts the back. The back is this high, and he puts cars back there so nobody else can get back there. Thank you.
Thank you.
First thing I want to say is, Heather, I know you had your company come out to that tree, and I got a letter stating that this guy said the tree's perfectly fine. I've had 4 tree companies come out. One Saturday, they looked at my tree, guy put his hand down, he said, see these bugs running on my tree? They're eating my tree from the inside out. It looks beautiful, but it's dying. And I know the reason why is because of the big tree across the street that's dead. So what I want, it's not a DPW problem no more, it's a city problem. And it's keeping me up at night because I'm afraid the thing's gonna crack and fall and hit somebody and kill somebody, or it's gonna fall on my house. Then we got problems. So all I want is the tree cut. Just cut it down. That's all I want. Now, the second thing. What are we doing for the roads in this city? Because my street, Bournemouth, all the way from Harper, not to Leslie anymore, to Eastbourne, is completely gone. And you're talking about these crack sealing. If you remember, they did that on my street, but they never finished, and you paid them for it. Now those cracks are starting to spread. The crack along the middle of the street is completely gone. And you can ask your fire truck driver, came down the street the other day, right by that telephone pole, or the light pole, he hit that bump, boom, that truck went, and then he went forward and stayed in the one spot where you're not supposed to stay, where the asphalt, you can't even see it anymore, it's concrete. He hit it that, and I thought the truck was gonna fall apart. But that whole street needs to be repaired. Tyrone, from Littlestone over, you keep throwing it down, and it doesn't do any good. Canton Street, you drive up Canton, same thing, bumps, bumps, bumps. What are we doing about the roads? You're worried about all this other stuff. Let's fix the roads, because I'm telling you, do you know what a cheese grater is? An old-fashioned cheese grater. That's what it's like driving down the street. It's no longer smooth. It's got little holes in it. Now, compliment. Given a great compliment. I don't know that lady's name, but I called her office because I got the letter in the mail and it said City Hall, and I went, City Hall, what the heck's going on here? And she, I don't know if it was you or somebody in your office, called me back and told me that now, instead of voting at Tyrone, I have to come here and vote. And I was kind of concerned because I'd never voted here before, and she explained it to me on the phone, and I just want to thank her for that. So thank you.
First meeting I ever went to in my life was downtown for redistricting. I learned a lot. Hi, guys. Blessings to all of you. First, I've already mentioned that my Milk River drain tax bill was $160 in 2008. I also have a tree pot problem that has hollowed out, and the roots are actually coming up to the surface because of the aluminum and barium that is being sprayed in the sky to block out the sun from electromagnetic solar flares. In regards to our new draft zoning, I am opposed to the EV stations that you're probably going to propose because it increases my fire insurance, and electric cars don't work in Michigan. I'm not taking a trip cross-country to sit at an EV station, which will only welcome guests that are not citizens or service us for an EV station. In the Grosse Points area at the Huntington Woods location, they have 4 charging stations, and it's been completed for a month, maybe 2 months, and I've never seen them used. I don't care for EV fire exclusive things in my area. As far as the joint sealant goes, you already know, Mr. Szymanski, I had to file a police report because of one of the employees actually urinated in the front of my house. And I do think you were very big on, we don't need to rebid. They already know their stuff. And you see the problems now. So can we consider maybe a joint sealant contractor that lives in Detroit, along with an event family facility? There are quite a few people that live in Harper Woods that do the staging and the tents. Doesn't have to go to Miss Emma, who would probably have the final say in all of the new colorful graffiti-ish murals, which I would much rather prefer something that says, stand tall, love all. To the gun violence, I've been a very educated gun person all of my life and a hunter since I was 8. I have always been raised by prep, pray, practice, and stay out of the way. I don't like it when my city council does have a gun violence. Please don't let me get off the wrong track here. I'm not opposed to what you're promoting with the orange vest for safety and education. But I would like to add, at the times of wartime in 1942, when there was a war and community gardens, that the adults actually helped the kids handle the guns. If you're so afraid, be more afraid that there's 20+ million newcomers in this country that don't care about your property. So where do I register my shovel?
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good evening. I'm Michelle White, and I actually come to you. Hi, I'm Michelle White. I actually come to you from Grosse Pointe Park. I am the Wear Orange lead for Michigan, actually. And I lead the Moms Demand Action group in Grosse Pointe and East Side. It's Harper Woods. It's this part of Detroit. And we're working hard to end gun violence. Thank you so much for passing the Wear Orange Proclamation tonight. You 100% did the right thing for our children and for our community, and for those who have lost loved ones to gun violence, whether to homicide, suicide, or accidental death. Every gun death and injury is preventable. Together, we can end gun violence, but that means we really do have to work together. I want to say thank you for the idea about the website, putting the proclamation there. I think that's absolutely fabulous. Thank you for having it read tonight. I think it raises visibility. And the idea behind orange is that if we all wear it, people ask, like, wow, why are all these people wearing orange? What's it about? It sparks conversation, it inspires education, and it brings the community together. It gives everyone hope in a really surrounding a really, really difficult topic. It's something that people don't want to regularly talk about. You know, it's not a topic that you bring up at a party, for instance. It's a hard topic, actually, but we have to talk about it to make good change. Finally, I encourage you to take part in these local events that are going to happen, and I'm going to tell you what they are. So, everyone is invited to this, everyone. Please come on May 29th at Otherworld Nursery and Mom's Arcade on Mack Avenue. We're having a launch party, and it's going to be fun. It's from 5 to 9. It's to support survivors and honor the victims and raise awareness. And we are going to have orange food like cheese and carrots and clementines. We're going to have orange slushies and chalk for the kids. And the Mom's Arcade is open and it's free of charge from 5 to 9. And they really have some great pinball. So I hope you will come. And you can buy flowers there, orange flowers to plant in your garden, and you can get free ribbon from us to tie around your trees. We sell little strings of orange lights at cost, and we have and signs for your yard we have as well. On May 31st, Next Chapter Books is another community partner on Warren. They're going to host an artist who has created work surrounding gun violence, and you can. She's going to do a talk back on May 31st from 3 to 5. And I hope you will come to that. June 6th, there will be a silent vigil in front of the Grosse Pointe Woods City Hall. So on Mack Avenue, we're going to bring signs that say things like, I wear orange for. So I hope you will come. Finally, can I say, come get ice cream at Treat Dreams. If you wear orange at Treat Dreams on Mack, they'll give you a free scoop of orange ice cream on that weekend. So thank you. Thanks so much.
You're welcome. All right. Okay, call the council, starting with you, Councilwoman Constantino.
Sorry, I was just trying to get some of these events into my calendar. Yep. I'm not going to say much, just that we are truly trying to lower your taxes, but you can see what we're up against. Really big things like the Milk River drain. And I mean, if you look at your taxes, the city taxes are only about 1/3 of the taxes that are on your tax bill. And so we have no control over anything else on the tax bill other than our city taxes. And I think that's all I'm going to talk about tonight.
Okay.
Thanks.
Someone was mentioning tree trimming. I know we finally got some tree trimming coming down our street, but DTE seems to be doing a lot of it in Harper Woods right now. And I'm not sure how they schedule it or whatever, but I'm very glad to get some of that done because I had an area where it was growing and then the vines come and then because of the wires to push together and all this kind of sparks. Also, I guess Councilwoman Pratt will probably focus on that a little more. We had the perennial day on Saturday. It was a lot of fun. They did a real good job, and April's not here today. She did a very good job of pulling that together with the support of Councilwoman Constantino. We had a lot of fun there, exchanging flowers and stuff, and we even probably going to take pictures to let's see how it's growing in our garden. So we'll see maybe for next year. That's about all. Memorial Day presentation will be
10:15.
Monday. What time again?
10:15, I believe.
Yeah, 10:15. So hopefully everybody will show up. We do this every year in honor of our veterans.
And to piggyback on that, it's at the high school, just outside the high school in Johnston Park. So a wonderful event. I also was involved in the perennial exchange, and it was wonderful. More residents need to come out and participate in that. I believe, and Mrs. LaPrade, I think you can speak to this, I believe that there's something that they do also in the fall. And so people who haven't taken place, or everyone, if you have perennials in your garden and you want to exchange those perennials for other perennials that other people have, I know I've gotten wonderful, wonderful plants through our own beautification commission. I also want to mention that this past week, the mayor, Councilmember Toussaint, and I were all attended the Optimist Club annual Respect for Law program, where 3 of our police officers were recognized for their valiant effort in saving the life of a resident who was involved in a fire that engulfed his property. And so, you know, I think all of us recognize that our officers often go above and beyond. Not just those 3 officers, but we can count on our police department and our fire department. And so I just want to praise the work that our people are doing. So thank you for that.
All right.
Just keep an eye out for construction workers out there, guys. They're out there for your good. And then, yeah, don't forget Memorial Day at 10:15 at Johnston Park. See everyone there.
The perennial plant exchange, I think we had more people than we've ever had. I mean, there were a lot of people there, and everybody was just enthusiastic. We have some new members on the beautification commission that are just, I mean, these people they just love living here. And they're, you know, doing a lot of work to improve their own homes and their neighbors' homes. But we gather raffle prizes, and so I just want to say a thank you to Home Depot, Lowe's, Other World that's hosting that Wear Orange event, Sparkman Landscaping, who's their residents here, and Soulier, all donated a nice prize. So if you showed up, you you won one of these nice prizes. But it was really a great day for the weather not being perfect. A lot of people were out there, and there was a lot of things to choose from. So.
Good time.
Okay, just a couple of things. I know we were talking a little bit earlier about the Point Fitness Center, and I'm assuming that this is to replace some of the things that was at Harper Woods High School. Where they had the recreation stuff there, so I'm assuming it's going to be, you know, moved over to that facility. I really did like the questions that were asked about the city manager search, because I had been wondering a little bit about that myself, you know, how we were coming along, because I know each meeting, we kind of mentioned that we have a search, but we, you know,
Few weeks, we'll get the committee, we got enough things to look at. So we got the audit, we're trying to get the big stuff out of the way. Biggest thing now was lowering taxes, okay, and going through an audit, and as you all know, okay, we've made a complete change in audit and the way the audits are held, and this will just fall right in line. No big deal.
and the news the other night, on the news they highlight a community, and like every week they have a different community that they're highlighting. A couple of days ago, the one I saw, I wish I could remember which community it was, but when they got ready to switch their garbage trucks and so forth, they got a grant to help pay for all the garbage cans so that the citizens didn't have to pay for that.
We're working on that.
Okay, so I knew there was grants available for that.
That's it.
And then I look forward to seeing everybody at the Memorial Day celebration at Johnston Park.
All right. Well, that takes it to me. And frankly, I inherited a lot of what is happening. We have inherited what has been going on. But our main goal and objective is to lower the taxes as we can. And that takes a lot of work on behalf of all of us to find grants or other entities to replace what we have, you know. So it may be a slow process and it may not be what you all think, but at least we're not increasing. And we're trying to lower the taxes because just like everybody else, we pay high taxes. You know, we suffer from the same thing. We pay taxes as well as you guys do. So it be behooving to us to lower the taxes for everybody, not just for few. It's for everyone. So I work very hard. I'm supposed to be a part-time position, but I probably clock in about 40 hours, 30 to 40 hours a week, going to meetings to find monies to help our city. And I'm very grateful for the people that I have met that has begun to help us. Yes, we need a community center. What we had over at behind AMVET was just a room. We still had our recreation department in a trailer. So with the new center, which we're trying to get the monies for, which is not going to cost any of you any money, is that we're trying to make sure that we have a place for seniors and children, and to also have our recreational department in a building instead of being in a trailer, which they have been for the past 20 years. When I got here 25 years ago,
30 plus.
they,
More than 30 years.
plus.
for 30 plus years, they've been in a trailer. It's time for them to have a real office, along with places for you to be able to have a meeting, you to be able to have a cooling station or a heating station. If we had an emergency here, there's no place in Harper Woods that we could say all the seniors go here and you can cool off or charge up your phones or whatever. We don't have that here. And so these are the reasons that we are trying hard to get a community center. And yes, I'm going to try my damnedest to get the $8 million that I need to finish that community center. Another thing, we had a peace walk with Bishop Lloyd from Remus Church. I wasn't in the video because I had just got back from Milwaukee for a conference to find monies for our water department, and to hopefully we'll be able to cut back on some water issues. If you're not at the table, it says a lot of times, well, you missed the meal. But being at certain meetings, I've come across certain monies that other communities were aware of and we were not aware of. So I will be tapping into other entities to help us bring down the cost of the water infrastructure and the water Milk River. These are things that only happens when you are in the room with people discussing it and making things happen. So we're not just sitting here doing nothing and spending your money. We're here trying to make sure that we don't continue to be the second highest tax place in Michigan. So we work hard at that, and I thank all my colleagues for helping me, because we all are after the same thing, improving and continue with the best quality of life that we can for Harper Woods. And with that, we have a closed session, and Mr.
Madam Mayor,
Jennings.
I'd like to make the motion to adjourn to closed session for the purpose of discussing litigation settlement.
Support.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So we're going in closed session and we'll come back out.